Hello everybody, this is Danny and Wanda from Deep South Homestead. We have been given a challenge by Mike and Jeannie Pratt from the Pratt Family Homestead. It's 30 random facts that you do not know about Wanda and I. Now you may know some of them because of videos, but it's 30 facts nonetheless. And look, 30, for someone our age, we have to write some of this stuff down in order to get it done right, you know, so...
And we could have added a lot more than 30.
We could have added more than 30, but the bottom line is, here we go, the 30 things. First one is, Wanda and I met 4 years ago in April. We married in July.
Yeah. And the second one is, Danny has 2 daughters, and I have 2 daughters and 3 sons.
Together, we have 22 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild.
Yes, and because Danny has 1 stepson, forgot that part.
Oh yeah, I have 1 stepson. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where the extra.
That's where all the extra kids are coming in.
And
at.
the grandchild.
Yes.
Great grandchild.
Great grandchildren's coming in.
Yes.
At. Yes.
Okay, and before we were Deep South Homestead, our place here was called Bluebird Farm.
Yes, my favorite color is green. Wanda's favorite color is blue.
Yeah, and I'm usually in blue jeans and t-shirts in the summer, sometimes shorts, but Danny's usually in a t-shirt and roundhouse overalls. He will wear blue jeans some because right now with the shoulders, he does have some issues, but he wears overalls a lot.
Yeah, my favorite food, I don't really have a favorite food, I have a favorite dessert. My favorite dessert is 4-layer delight. Wanda's favorite food, if I'm not mistaken, is chicken and dressing, or chicken and dumplings.
And dressing.
And dressing. Chicken and dumplings and dressing.
I live for Thanksgiving, Easter, and Christmas.
Yeah.
Family get-togethers. My favorite music is probably Christian and soft rock, country, things like that. Danny's is the 80s music. Journey. Foreigner. That type stuff, that's his music.
That's my music. My favorite car, or my first car, let me put it that way. Let's just say my first vehicle. I'm not a car person anymore. My first vehicle was a Datsun pickup truck. I think it was a 68 Datsun pickup truck. My favorite car was a 68 Ford Fairlane 500, which I wrecked.
My favorite, my first car.
Yeah, your first car was a Barracuda.
A Barracuda. If anybody knows what a Barracuda is, it was like in the 60s, a 64, something like that, I think. And my dad painted it a powder blue color. But my favorite car, probably of all time, was my second car, which was a Maverick. It was in the 70s, like a 74 or 76 Maverick.
Yes. Some of you may not know about Wanda and I. We are the oldest siblings in our family. In my family, I'm the oldest of 2 boys and 1. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. Wanda has 2 sisters and 1 brother.
And we're both the oldest.
We're both the oldest of our families.
Probably shows.
Yeah.
We both lived in Mississippi all our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Danny has traveled and worked outside of Mississippi, but for the most part, we've always lived in Mississippi, in South Mississippi. Well, you lived in Central Mississippi.
I've lived in Central Mississippi also, yeah. Wanda and I, if y'all may not know, we both met on Christian Mingle, a dating site for supposedly Christian people, but turns out that it's not really that for many people, but that is how it worked for us. So it worked for us.
Cooking chores around here. Danny usually gets up most mornings and makes breakfast almost, I'd say, 95% of the time. And I cook lunch and supper and snacks, and occasionally he will cook supper.
Yeah.
So we kind of share it.
Another fact, I was once a preacher. Most people don't know that, but I was. I was a minister, and Wanda, you may not know it, but she was an office manager for quite some time.
Yeah. Okay, both Danny's kids went to public schools and a private school for a little while.
And a private school, Christian school.
All 5 of my children were homeschooled. I was a homeschooling mom back in the 80s and early 90s.
Okay. Both of my kids, and this is interesting, both of my kids were born in a hospital. Wanda had 2 born in a hospital and 3 home births. So that's a fact y'all may not know about us.
Yes. And Danny drinks water all the time. He hardly ever drinks anything but water. He will drink juice on occasion, and he might take a swallow of a Sprite if I have it, but that's it. I drink coffee every morning. I have my hot teas and occasionally a hot chocolate, and I drink water.
Yeah,
that's mainly what we drink water all the time. I'll get a Sprite when we go to town sometimes. I don't do it all the time, but once a month maybe.
Once a month maybe, yeah. And I'll take a sip or 2 out of it, but that's the only thing I drink other than water. Let's see, what else? I went to college in high school. Wanda went to college when she was 50 years old.
Yep. And something I found out doing Ancestry on Danny, I already knew about my family, but I found out about him. Both our mothers' ancestors came from Scotland.
Yeah.
His was the Kennards, mine the Douglases, and they had feuds back in the 1400s.
Yep.
So that was pretty interesting.
We're settling a 500-year-old or longer older family feud.
Yeah. We settled the family feud.
We settled the family feud from way back then. Yeah. I thought that was really interesting. Wanda and I were married on, I would call it spur of the moment. I just looked at her and said, "Want to get married?" And she said, "Why not?" We ran and met the preacher. He agreed to marry us. We had a Jewish Hebrew wedding underneath a hoopah on July the 19th.
By a Baptist minister.
By a Baptist minister who did not know what he was doing, and I had to walk him through it.
But it was awesome.
But it was awesome.
And there was nobody there but us.
There was nobody there but us. Yeah.
The preacher and the secretary.
Yep.
Favorite pastimes. Danny, if he had a favorite pastime, it's to fish. He doesn't do that much, but we're fixing to get back into it. Mine is sitting watching water on the beach. I can sit and watch it all day long. So I'm hoping that we can incorporate fishing and watching water all at one time.
Yeah. Another thing you may not know about me is I'm a marksman. I shot competition for 9 years. I love the challenge. I've killed 73 deer with a bow because shooting with a gun for me was no challenge. So I
killed one with the crossbow.
I killed one last year with a crossbow. My first deer ever taken with a crossbow. I've killed hundreds with rifles and stuff. So the bow was a challenge for me, and that's something you may not know about me.
And I was a VBS director, a Vacation Bible School director at my church. Also a teen kid leader, teacher, whatever. I just enjoyed working with kids. So that's part of mine. And I also helped with teenage college age group that sang. I also went with all the teams on all their outings.
Okay. Another thing you may not know about me is I built 2 of my last homes from ground to finish myself. I've built many homes for other people. I specialized in unusual homes. That's the reason I got called for the unusual ones. I've built dome homes with triangle panels. I've built octagon-shaped houses. I've built 5-story beachfront houses. 15 feet off the ground, the first floor. I've built the one that I'm living in now by myself, and the one I had before this was by myself built. So that's something you may not know about me.
And I am the piano player at our church. I'm not that good at it. I'm not fancy, but I play the piano. I started when I was probably in about the 3rd or 4th grade taking lessons, and I play enough that we can sing, put it that way.
Yeah. Another thing you may not know about me, for many years I was a trapper. So that's one of the reasons I have the skills that I have in the woods and with animals, and has been as successful as I've been with deer hunting and different things in my life is because I was a trapper and I know wildlife.
In the 80s, I became a natural health consultant. I worked for a company that sold natural products like herbs and things like that. I studied herbs. At one point, I could about tell you anything in our area, what it was. I have to get back into that because I've lost a lot of it, but I love herbs, plants, you name it. That's something I really love.
Okay, another thing you don't know about me maybe is that I have broken 11 major bones in my body. At different times and different accidents. Wanda, as far as I know, has never broken a bone. Mm-mm. So
nothing.
She's a blessed one.
And I'm a craft person. I have learned to do most crafts. I have crocheted, cross-stitched, candlewick, macrame, you name it. I've pretty much done it over the years. I don't do a whole lot of any of that right now. I'm into canning now.
Yeah.
I like canning, but any of your craft type items I love to do. It's just that after I do something for a while, I'm bored with it, and I really don't like to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And that brings us to
the final thing that you may not know about Wanda and I is that we are both, now this is something we saved the best for the last, we are both OCD.
Very OCD.
Very OCD about everything. That's why you see so many things get done here, is because we cannot stand to see something undone. We give it 1,000% when we jump into it, and we don't like to see anything out of place. It just irritates us when things are out of place and things don't look good. And that's where we're at now. We got some things out of place, some things that don't look like they're supposed to, and it's about to drive us up the wall.
Yeah, the house is my biggest thing, because I used to be a house cleaner. That's another thing.
Yeah.
And I don't even clean my own house like I should now because we're outside so much, and that's kind of like a sore spot in my bones. And so I've got to get into doing that, but we're so OCD that if we're outside and I see a weed, I've got to pull it.
Got to pull it. Yeah.
You know, and when you come back by, another one's popped up in its place.
That's true.
It's a never-ending cycle, but we are OCD about every project we do.
So, there's the 30 things that you may or may not have known about us. Okay, if these people haven't been tagged, we're going to tag these people here. We want Teal Farms. We want to tag them.
Alderman Farms.
Tommy from Off Grid Nation.
Amanda from Freedom Acres.
Off Grid Kid, because I'm interested in seeing 30 things that we don't know about
He's
him.
not even 30 years old. You think he can come up with 30
I don't know if he
things?
can come up with 30 things or not, but I want to see what
I'm
Ethan
curious.
can come up with.
Yes, and how about
Is Dirtpatcheaven?
I don't know if Dirtpatch has been. I like 30 things from Dirtpatch. We've learned a lot about her.
We've learned a lot about her, but y'all may not know a lot of things.
Y'all may not know. So if Dirtpatch has not been tagged, let's see if she can name 30 things that y'all don't know about her.
Her. Yeah.
So that's our 30 random facts that you might not know about us. And you want to send them to our new video? It's not
Let's
ours.
send them to a video that we had made by a professional. I'm going to call him a professional.
He is a professional.
Because he is a professional in my point of view. And that's Barry from Empty Hammock. Y'all go over and watch.
Grounded series.
He done a grounded series. He did a documentary of Wanda and I about things you may not know about us.
Yes, it's kind of how we met.
It's how we met, before we met, how our lives have been. A little bit about us. If you want to know more about us, hey, go over and check Barry out at Empty Hammock and look under the Grounded series for Danny and Wanda's story.
Yes, and take some tissues.
Take some tissues with you, Wanda.
I cried. I still cry.
Thank y'all from Deep South Homestead. Bye-bye.